Hello Toy Collector fans, Universal Toy Collector here and welcome to the channel. Join me today as I count down to my all-time favourite Sith character. Okay, so before we start, I just want to say that this is for live action characters only. So any characters that were in the comics or the books or the games, I will not be including those because I do not know those characters. I haven't read the comics or books, so I couldn't comment either way as to whether they were good or bad characters. So I'm leaving those out. I also won't be including the two characters from the Clone Wars, which would be Ventress and Savage Opress. So if they were live action, then they would have been in this without a shadow of a doubt. And I also won't be including General Grievous. Mainly he can wield a lightsaber, but he doesn't use the Force. So as far as I'm aware, he doesn't use the Force, so I'm not including him. So what I've done is I've had a look and I've worked out that there was 10 characters, whether they were Sith Lords or Inquisitors, that have graced our screen in live action. So yeah, I've worked out 10. So what we should do is we'll crack on, and just bear in mind that these are only my thoughts and opinions. You may agree, you may disagree. Leave a comment in the comment section below telling me who you would choose as your number one Sith character. So let's crack on. In at number 10, I have Snoke. Now, when I saw this guy originally in The Force Awakens, this is where this picture's from, I thought, wow, this guy looks pretty cool. He sounds cool, pretty menacing. I'd like to know more about him. Unfortunately, by the time episode 2 came round, that wasn't the case. Here he is in his throne room. The throne room scene, I thought looked, well, the setting looked fantastic. The guy who played Snoke, Andy Serkis, I thought he did a great job. Unfortunately for me, piss poor writing let him down. There was no explanation as to where he was from, who he was. There was nothing about him. And before you could blink an eye, he was pretty much out the film anyway, because Kylo Ren had seen him off. So there's a lot of opportunity for him or to be developed as a character. That didn't happen. You only found out what happened to him after J.J. Abrams came in for episode 9 to fix the car crash. That was episode 8. And basically he was a clone. And now you have Disney retconning some of the Star Wars episodes, especially in The Mandalorian, where you see like cloning chambers and stuff like that. So for me, a character with huge potential, but was let down by poor writing for the two films that he was in. Again, just my opinion, but there you are. What can you do? So that he's number 10. Number 9, we have the fourth sister from the Kenobi series. Really didn't see too much of her. I liked the look of her. I thought her character looked pretty cool. Would like to have seen her in a bit more action. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Whether or not she'll be used again in any other Star Wars TV series remains to be seen. But again, a lot of potential for this character. Unfortunately, we didn't see it, so I cannot comment too much about her. We have the fifth brother. This is him from Kenobi. Now, I like that scene. I thought that looked pretty cool with the stormtroopers coming in behind him. Again, I would have liked to have seen him in a lot more action. You didn't really see him do too much. I thought the guy who played him played the character well. So this is him in Kenobi. He was, in fact, in the TV series Rebels. This is him here. Again, you saw him a little bit more action in the animated series, which I quite liked. Again, for me, you didn't see enough of him. And yeah, that is why he is in at number 8. Okay, so number 7 would be Reva. Oh dear, where do we start? Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate on the character. I thought Moses Ingram did a good job in playing the character. She did what she was directed to do. As a character, I didn't really like her too much. Okay, I'll look at the positives. The twist where she was the kid in the beginning, where Anakin walked into the Jedi Temple and stabbed her, and then later on in the series you found out it was her. I did quite like that. A lot of people saw that coming. I didn't see that coming. So there you are. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I did enjoy her scene where she tried to take on Vader. I thought that was quite good, and Vader just made mincemeat of her, really. Left her for dead once again. For me, I would have preferred it if they had killed her off. It would have made sense, but they wanted to kind of like redeem her character, so to speak. So she came back in the end, didn't she, with young Luke in the last episode. Other than that, I thought she was quite stroppy, which I mean, I don't think she fitted in with the rest of the Inquisitors. I suppose because of how she was and her motives. I guess that was the reason why. But yeah, I can't see her being any higher than 7. So that's why I put her in at 7. I mean, I don't agree with the hate and the vile comments that Moses Ingram got for playing the part. I don't agree with that at all. Fine, if you don't like something, fair enough. Don't like it. Explain your reasoning in a civil manner. You don't have to write nasty shit on her Instagram or Twitter or whatever it was and give her abuse. No one deserves that. So I don't condone that at all. Anyway, moving on. Number 6 for me will be the Grand Inquisitor. Now, I thought this guy played the part really well. I loved the fact that he was English, and there's been a lot of hoo-ha about why are English people always playing baddies? It's kind of stereotypical. For me, he played the baddie because he was bloody good at playing a baddie, and English people do make good baddies. Just something about their accent, it suits a villain. He come across as intelligent. He come across as calm, calculating. He could contain his anger. He didn't let his emotion or his anger get the better of him. He kept it quite self-contained. And for me, that comes across as more menacing than someone who's in your face all the time or showing how strong they are, or the cold, the quiet, the calculating, the thinking behind the character. I loved that. I thought he was great, and I really wanted to see more of him. And because we didn't in this series, that is why he's at number 6 for me. What I didn't like was the fact that he got we thought he was killed. We knew that wasn't going to happen because he was also in Rebels. Now, again, I liked him in Rebels. He was voiced by Jason Isaacs. I thought, again, he played it calmly. He played it like calculating. And yeah, again, for me, just very menacing, very deliberate. He knows what he's doing. He's thinking, and I just love that. Would I like to have seen more of him in Rebels? Absolutely would have done, but I think he had a kind of like a fitting end at the end where they finished him off in I think it was the end of season 1, wasn't it? It was a end of season 1 finale. So yeah, Grand Inquisitor at number 6 for me. At the halfway point now, number 5, Kylo Ren. I thought I'd choose this picture because it's very Christmassy. I quite like that. Yeah, wow, what can I say about this guy? He certainly wasn't like his grandfather, was he? Darth Vader. Yeah, I think the sequels let this character down. I think there was so much more potential. He could have been a proper badass, as they say. But I see the bit for me where he killed his father. I think that was them showing us how cruel he was, and you know, how driven he was, and stuff like that. I just thought he was like a spoiled brat, temper tantrum, you know, which he showed in a couple of scenes in episode 7, for sure, The Force Awakens. I didn't like that connect that he had with Rey. Again, where did that come from? No one knew that kind of existed. That Jedis could do that. Wasn't mentioned in any of the previous films or anything like that. It was just, I don't know. But here he is anyway. There's Adam Driver. I thought Adam Driver played the part well. I thought he played the part well. But again, I just think the films let the character down. He could have been so much more. It would have been nicer if they. Well, it would have been, for me, it would have been better if he would have been worse than Vader, because he wanted to start or finish what his grandfather started, and his grandfather was kind of like stopped in his tracks, and he was like, well, by Luke, wasn't he, at the end of Jedi? So I would have liked it if they'd have made Kylo a lot worse than Vader, more feared than Vader. But no one kind of like took him seriously, and in my opinion, that I wouldn't have taken him that seriously anyway. I mean, he's like Ray said, you just want to be like your grandfather and stuff like that. So, or he wants to be as strong. It would have been good if they'd have made that happen, and he would have been, you know, a lot stronger than Vader. But anywho, that wasn't the case. We got what we got. Like I say, Adam Driver didn't do a bad job. Kind of enjoyed it. Enjoyed him playing that part, but I think it could have been more from the character. That's what I'm saying. I would have liked to see more, but we didn't get that. Okay, so moving on then. Number 4. This has surprised me because I love this guy, but Darth Maul. Yeah, when I first saw the film Phantom Menace all those years ago, I was excited to see this guy played by Ray Park, and he did not disappoint. He just looked menacing. Just his facial expressions. Again, he didn't say much. He didn't have to. Then when he wielded that lightsaber, and it was a double-bladed one, it just blew my mind. I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. Did I like the fight scene with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan? Yes, I did. Yeah, it was fairly choreographed, but I think they wanted to show what the Jedis were like in their peak, in their when they were, you know, and what have you. But I absolutely love Ray Park, and the scene where he's standing there waiting for the force field to come up when Qui-Gon's on his knees, I just thought that was so menacing. He just looked like he was stalking his prey, and I loved that. What I didn't like was the fact that they decided to cut him in half and him fall down that pit. I thought, what a waste of a character. Again, so much potential. I'd have loved to have seen him carry on in the movies for episode 2 and possibly the start of episode 3. That didn't happen, so we all thought that was it. Anyhow, come to the Clone Wars, and they decided to revive him. Now, as much as I loved seeing him again in the Star Wars universe and that they brought him back, I think they should have either left him dead at the end of episode 1 or not killed him off in the first place. So this is him when he's down in that pit on a junk planet. He's got spider legs. He's lost his marbles. All he keeps on saying is Kenobi. He can remember Kenobi. He goes to Mother Talzin, and she fixes his mind, so to speak. And with her magic powers and stuff like that, she gives him these kind of legs. Now, again, I love the story arc that he was involved in. I thought it was great. I loved as the cartoons went on and the series went on. I thought, yeah, great. You know, I'm really enjoying this. He was voiced by Sam Witwer. So yeah, Kind of happy to see him back. Mixed feelings to start with, like I said, but you know, they say it is what it is. They brought him back, so you know, might as well enjoy it. And then in episode season 7, here he is here again. You can't quite see it because there wasn't that many decent pictures that I could find. So you've got the more human-looking legs there, or humanoid-looking legs. They're still robot legs. But that fight scene with Ahsoka Tano at the end, wow, that was just phenomenal. I absolutely loved that. I really did love that. So yeah, that's the Darth Maul there. Also happy to see him in Solo, even though it was a hologram. Again, I would have liked to have seen more from him in that, or like a follow-up to Solo, because I'd like to know what happened to Kira. But by all accounts, you have to read the comics or the novels to find out what happened to both in that respect, which is a shame because I don't have time to sit and read the books, so I'm missing out on a lot of stories. What I didn't do is get pictures of him. He was also in Rebels, and then he met his fate finally again at the hands of Ben Kenobi in Rebels. So yeah, Darth Maul, a fantastic looking character. That double-bladed lightsaber in the Phantom Menace, absolutely love that. Like I say, they should have either left him dead or not killed him off in the first place. They decided to kill him off and then bring him back. I thought it was a little bit far-fetched when they brought him back. They did, but then again, as I said, as the episodes went on, I kind of got to enjoy seeing him. Anyway, okay, moving on. My number 3, Count Dooku. Now, when I originally saw him in Attack of the Clones, I was like, my God, no! Why did they kill off? Why did they kill off Darth Maul? They should have had him. This guy. I mean, I love Christopher Reeve. Not Christopher Reeve. Oh, for crying out loud! What's his name? Oh, God, his name escapes me now. Oh no. I can't remember his name. Christopher something. I can't remember his surname. I'll put it up on the screen in a minute. I do apologise. But yeah, I thought, God, no, he's absolutely awful. But then you start seeing him in the Clone Wars, and then just recently you saw him in Tales of the Jedi. And in Tales of the Jedi, they explained to you how he became like Sith and stuff like that. So this is him as a younger man in Tales of the Jedi, which I thought was pretty cool. Here he is again. He's a bit older this time. So yeah, again, like that. I thought that was pretty cool. I think he was with Mace Windu on that mission. And then here we have him in episode another episode, and this is where he's looking at the tree because Qui-Gon has died. So this was during the events of the Phantom Menace. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Tales of the Jedi. I liked listening to his backstory and stuff like that. I thought they were the best episodes. And then this is him in the Tartakovsky Clone Wars series. Yeah, pretty cool. I like the artwork. I thought that was okay. And here he is in the actual Dave Filoni Clone Wars series, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant in that. I really do. I really did enjoy his character, and there was a lot of character growth. So again, a reason why he's at number 3 is because of the character growth they gave him. So I started off not really liking him and thinking too much of him because of what I saw of him in the films, but then because he crossed over into the animated series as well, I can then make I can paint a better picture with him and stuff like that. So here he is in episode 2. So yeah, again, I cannot remember his name. Christopher. Oh God, that is terrible. That is terrible. I'll have to put it up on screen. I do apologise. So yeah, here's my number 2. So number 1. No, he's not. He's my number 3. Beg your pardon. So my number 2 is and I don't know whether people will agree with me on this or not, but it is Darth Vader. Now here he is, still humanoid. He's got those yellow eyes. I absolutely love that shot. I really do. I think that's absolutely a fantastic shot of him there, with the eyes. Very, very well done. Here he is. This is him getting all burnt up after his rather choreographed fight with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Here he is. That's him on the bed where he's just all burnt up and he's having the mask put on. Again, this is episode 3. And there he is in all his glory with the helmet. So yeah, the reason he's number 2 is because I think the person who's number 1 is well, I'll explain it why in a minute, but I like Vader. There's nothing wrong with being coming in at number 2. This is the scene from Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan series, where he has his helmet cracked and stuff like that. So I kind of enjoyed that. This is him in Rebels. Now this artwork was all concept art, so I like the way that Dave Filoni and the guys used the concept art for Rebels. I did enjoy that. That was pretty cool. And this is him. This is like a repeat sort of thing. This is when he had the fight with Ahsoka, and she thought she could reach him, but no. Yeah. So this is sort of like mirrored in Obi-Wan, isn't it? Where the helmet's cracked. So this is him in the scene from the end of Rogue One. Now, I love this, and I would have loved to have seen more of this. I really would have done, because Darth Vader was feared throughout the galaxy, and there was a reason for that. But I don't think you've seen enough of it. I don't think you have. You had this at the end of Rogue One. You had the scene where he was walking down the street in Kenobi, and he was pulling people through windows, like civilians through windows, killing them. Right? We just wanted to see more stuff from him, and for them to give us a reason as to why he was the most feared man in the galaxy at that time. So here he is again. This is from episode 4. Now this is when we knew diddly squat about him. That scene when he first came through the door there with the stormtroopers and the troopers on the rebel troopers in front of him. Wow, what a fantastic guy this is. And he's probably a lot of people's number 1, but I'll tell you why he's not in a minute when I'm going through my number 1. But anyway, here he is in probably the most iconic scene in any film in history, the I Am Your Father scene. Absolutely fantastic. Love that. I thought that was brilliant. And I think a lot of people did. Empire, by far, my favorite film of all the films. And here he is on the Death Star in episode 6, Return of the Jedi. And I think this is just before he picked up the Emperor and launches him over the top of the shaft there, down into the shaft. For me, he was just a slave, wasn't he? Well, he was a slave. He was a slave as a kid to Watto and the Hutts. Then he became a Jedi, and then he became Vader, and he was a slave to the Emperor, and the Emperor pretty much controlled him. And I would have loved to have seen more from Vader with his anger, his just destructiveness, and I wanted them to show you why he was the most feared. I don't think we've seen that enough. They've given us little teasers and stuff like that, but I mean, some people might think you don't need to see all of that. But the reason why I have this guy as my number 1, at the time he was Chancellor Palpatine. They went to he was Senator Palpatine, then went to Chancellor Palpatine. Obviously he was Darth Sidious, and then he became Emperor Palpatine. It's because this guy was the puppet master. He had everything in his hand. He played he played everything. He played everybody. He played the Senate. He played the Jedi. He concocted everything. He was the mastermind behind that. And again, I love that the fact that he was just pulling the strings. He was letting things unfold. And I just thought that was brilliant. So here he is in episode 1 as Chancellor Palpatine. This is in episode 2 as Senator Palpatine. You know, he's the way he manipulated people, the way he manipulated the Senate. I just think it was absolutely fantastic. I love that. And again, here he is. This is him in the Clone Wars series. Again, I thought he was very, very good in that. I enjoyed that. Here he is as Darth Sidious. So, yeah, again, pretty cool. You saw him in action. He took on Darth Maul and Savage Opress, and I thought that scene was absolutely superb. So here he is in episode 3. This is where he's speaking to Anakin and saying, you know, use my powers, I can save Padme. So, you know, he's really manipulated and got into the head of Anakin. And I just think he was the number one badass. I really do, because, like I say, he was the puppet master, and he's thought about everything, whereas Vader doesn't think that much. He's just more like the brute, isn't he? He's like rage and anger, which I'd like to have seen more of, because that's his character. He's not like calculating or you know, he doesn't think as much. I think Vader's very impulsive, pretty much like Anakin was. Anakin was always keen to jump in and want to just do this and do that a certain way. And that was very much a trait that Vader had, I feel, and I would like to see more of that. So here he is after he's had his little tussle with Mace Windu. I said it right that time. Brilliant. So he's all disformed there, isn't he? So there he is again. Look at him. Lovely. Then we see him again in episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. This is the special edition series film. So I don't have a picture of the original look, so I do apologise for that. And here he is in Return of the Jedi. Although he should be older, he looks a lot younger. So again, I thought he was top class, and I thought Ian McDiarmid played the part so well. I just loved the way he played that part, and absolutely awesome. So anyway, like I say, at the end of this film, and Return of the Jedi, he gets launched over the top, doesn't he, down into the Death Star reactor, and everybody thought he was dead. But no, they decided to bring him back. Yeah, so this is him at the beginning of the film, before he takes on Rey and Kylo Ren, and this is what he looks like at the end. He's got all his powers back. He's pretty much back to full health, and the eyes there. Yeah, again, I think if they would have thought about it and not rushed those films, if they had him come back in episode 7, The Force Awakens, I think that would have been more feasible than what they ended up serving us. Like I say, episode 9 was just a fan pleaser, I think, in certain ways, to navigate the car crash that Rian Johnson left for episode 8. Don't want to get too much into that. But again, I thought he played the part well. Like I say, I like the actor, Ian McDiarmid, who plays the Emperor. He plays him so well. But yeah, that for me is why he is my number one all-time favorite Sith character, because he is the puppet master. He played everybody. He controlled Vader. He controlled the Senate when he was a chancellor. I just, or not a chancellor, a senator. I just love all that, and I you know, he's got brains to go with his power, so to speak. Whereas Vader is more brawn than brains. So yes. Anyway, those are just my opinions and explanations as to why I've counted down in that way, and why those characters are from 10 to 1 in that order. Like I say, people might agree with me, people might disagree with me. That is perfectly fine. Like I said, these are just my thoughts and opinions. So yeah, it would be interesting to hear your thoughts, and I would like to see your top 3. So yeah, if you want to comment and give your top 3, just give a little explanation as to why they're your top 3. You don't have to write a massive essay. Yeah, it'd be just good to see what other people's views and opinions are. Well, yes, that's it. That's it for this video. I thought I'd do another one of these. The last time I did one of these, I think, was a countdown to my Star Trek films, or the original Star Trek films, or the original cast Star Trek films anyway. So I thought I'd do one of these instead of doing like a box opening or displaying stuff. So yeah, got a few more of those coming up. That'll be next week. So yes, this coming Friday we have episode 21 of My Collecting Life, which I'm looking forward to. So all good. And yes, so other than that, all I've got left to say is, if you're new to the channel, feel free to comment, like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to let you know of more content. And as always, there will be more content. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, take care, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.